Now, this is a pyramid below, and what's emanating from it is a double helix. You could see how it spins. That's a photograph of a scalar wave. There's not many photographs of scalar energy. That's a time-lapse photograph. That is the infinite waveform. That's the perfect energy. It's not electricity. So we're going to speak about this perfect energy. It's a phi spiral. It has the Fibonacci sequence incorporated within it.
Welcome, everyone. So lovely to have you all here. And I'm really delighted today and excited and interested to welcome Tom Paladino. And he's a scalar wave researcher who is now offering scalar technology out to the world for all of those of us, which I know include all of you, to heal themselves and to, if you like, upgrade their consciousness. So I'm delighted to welcome you here today, Tom. Thank you so much for joining us.
And it's my pleasure. Thank you so much, Sarita.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And I think my people are going to be really, really interested in this technology. So let's just dive straight in. And perhaps you can tell us how it is that you came to be a scalar wave researcher and a little bit about Tesla, obviously, in that. So fire away.
Yeah, that's a great question. What is this all about? It's scalar energy. It's not electricity. Why did I choose this career path? God gave me this wisdom. God gave me this knowledge. What's the point here? We're working with a different wave pattern, a different energy spectrum than that of electricity and magnetism. I was inspired at a young age by Nikola Tesla, probably the greatest scientist of all time. And Tesla had developed free energy devices, scalar energy devices. This is a scalar energy device behind me. So I want to introduce this new technology to the world, scalar technology. Some people call it 0-point energy. So it started at a young age. I was inspired by Tesla.
And so, well, I think loads of people have heard of Tesla by now, but you've been doing this for about 25 years. And so you've been in your laboratory and you've basically recreated the machinery of scalar wave energy, which is 0-point energy. I mean, I actually teach 0-point meditations and manifesting, and I'm assuming it works using the energetics or the geometry of like the infinity, basically.
Yes, it is. You're right. Yes to all of that. I'm going to show the audience a photograph of a scalar wave. Now, this is a pyramid below, and what's emanating from it is a double helix. You could see how it spins. That's a photograph of a scalar wave. There's not many photographs of scalar energy. That's a time-lapse photograph. That is the infinite waveform. That's the perfect energy. It's not electricity. So we're going to speak about this perfect energy. It's a phi spiral. It has the Fibonacci sequence incorporated within it. This is eternal energy. I believe it's divine light, divine energy.
Okay, so can you just quickly, let's just go back a little bit. We are, something I want to understand. So as far as I understand it, we're electromagnetic beings, okay? But we're living within this, we're fractalized aspects of source consciousness, okay? So that's the, as far as I understand it from watching a bit about your work. So we're fractalized aspects of source consciousness, and source consciousness, you would say, is the divine intelligence. So that's the scalar wave energy form. And we're like a fractalized aspect of that, which is electromagnetic energy. So just to be clear, we can create energy using electromagnetism. And obviously with that, we can create form using the intention through the electromagnetism of our beingness. But there's also another way to create matter, and that would be using the divine intelligence or the divine energy of the scalar wave. So the scalar is much closer to source consciousness or it's
Yes.
much more like source consciousness than us separated, individuated fractal aspects. Have I got that?
Brilliant. Yes. You've shown expertise. You've done a lot of meditation upon this. Yes.
I've done a lot of meditation on this. That is true. Okay, so can you explain to us, so you've just shown us what a scalar wave looks like. What does an electromagnetic energy look like? You know, like what's the comparison, and what's the comparison when you're dealing with something like intentional healing?
That's a good point. So let's go back to this double helix. That's perfect energy. So scalar energy and electromagnetic energy. If you would unbind, you see that double helix? If that double helix would unbind, one strand, one helix would become electricity, the other would become magnetism. That's
it. I get it. Okay,
so
perfect. Simple. Yeah.
Now, in my laboratory, I frequently convert a scalar into electricity or electricity back into scalar. Why? You take the double helix, you unbind it, it becomes electricity and magnetism that move perpendicular. Then you can reform electricity and magnetism back into the scalar double helix. It's that simple. And this is why we see throughout nature, throughout the universe, scalar converting to electromagnetic and electromagnetic converting back into scalar. It's a bi-directional conversion. Why? One is simply an inferior type of energy as opposed to the other. Scalar energy is the superior form of energy, consciousness. When you break that down, it's magnetism.
And so why in nature do we see, well, not just us, but other things breaking down the scalar? Why does it bother doing that when the other is available to us?
You're right. Now, look at the sun and the stars. The sun and the stars create storehouse scalar energy. This is why the sun and the stars are eternal. This is why we have light in the universe. You have to have a perpetual energy for perpetual stars. What is scalar energy? The perpetual energy for perpetual stars.
Okay.
And once scalar energy leaves the star, it becomes electromagnetic energy. Most of the energy that we absorb here on this earth, sadly, is electromagnetic. If we go back to the source, the stars, at the very center of the star, it's pure scalar. There's no electricity.
Okay, because I don't know if you know the physicist William Tiller. Do you know him?
I've heard it, yes.
Yeah, okay. So basically, he says that we contain in one atom of our being enough energy to power a whole universe, multiverse, infinite. So if that is the case,
yes.
And this is my, I'm kind of asking my last question at the beginning because I'm all overexcited. But if that is the case, and scalar wave, energy is the infinite divine intelligence,
yes.
How is it that, if you like, it becomes corrupted and we break down into things like disease, but not just on the physical level, but obviously on the emotional, mental, and spiritual levels as well? Obviously, we're working with it and we're putting it back together all of the time. But how does it, if it's a divine energy, get broken down? What is breaking it down, in your opinion?
I think it's just the consequence of being human. We no longer enjoy that supernatural gift of God. I believe, frankly, at one time, Adam and Eve had that perfect gift from God. Today, we don't have that perfect gift. So your point is valid. If we would live in that scalar way, we could never die or have disease.
Yeah, I believe we don't need to. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. If this is perpetual life, perpetual energy, then you will live forever. You'll be immortal and you cannot become sick. And that's the entire of my work. I want to go back to the perfect paradigm energy to reconstruct, to redo, to reprogram soul, mind, and body. The perfect tool is energy. And energy, the perfect energy, is scalar energy. That's the key to my work. There's no human ingenuity, there's no human reasoning with my healing. I don't heal. The energy heals. Your audience should like this and really gravitate towards this. The wave heals soul, mind, and body. It's not me. There's no human input on my part.
So basically, do you think it's because, so our nature, the scalar wave kind of created this reality, but our nature wanted to experience the contrast of living in polarity, which is why it separates and comes back together. So basically, your technology is not really just offering healing and an elevation to consciousness. It's actually offering us, if you like, a route into what some people call the fifth dimension, or unity,
Yes.
or Christ consciousness, perception, and awareness. So it's a kind of elevation for the collective consciousness.
It is an elevation. We're no longer living at the level of effect. We're going to live at the level of cause, where we can control our environment. Electricity, the electromagnetic spectrum, allows us to push the car. That's right. I'm going to repeat that. We're working at the level of effect, pushing the car. Once we get with scalar energy, we're going to drive the car. We're going to be in control of the car. And that's what I love about my work. It allows me to have control over soul, mind, and body.
Yeah, so you're basically, what your technology does is it re-shows, or as far as I understand it, it shows the original blueprint to the fractalized blueprint, what it actually is. And then the fractalized blueprint cannot help but respond to that, because it's a higher level of consciousness. Because now, also as far as I understand it, in some physics, they're beginning to show, let's say, I don't know, cells, their original blueprint in light, and then the cells immediately start healing and aligning themselves back to that original blueprint, don't they?
Yes.
They're using light to show cells how to behave. And that's basically what you're doing as well now.
Exactly. So if we look at this model, DNA is the same ratio and proportion as a scalar wave. This is the scalar wave, and I overlap it with our DNA. It's the identical ratio and proportion. Is that an accident? No. With my work, working with a scalar wave, now this is new as of this year, I've been able to work with people with cancer, tumors, and the results thus far are as a scalar wave reprograms.
At the DNA level, yeah.
Yes, because DNA is made of scalar energy. Exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so, because also I was listening to something that you said, I don't know, in another podcast, and then that's the 618 ratio,
Yes.
which is basically the perpetual, it never dies ratio.
Yes, thank you. So there's a major groove and a minor groove. The major groove is 1.618 times the length of the minor groove. Major groove 1.618 versus 1. So the Fibonacci sequence, the divine proportion, is embodied in scalar energy. And this is why scalar energy imparts the Fibonacci, or the divine, throughout nature, which is also our DNA. Our DNA has a Fibonacci sequence. Where did the Fibonacci sequence, where did the divine proportion come? That phi ratio came from scalar energy. This is how important this is. So scalar energy, the energy from the sun and the stars, programs everything.
And do you, oh God, I've got so many questions for you. And so basically, as far as I understand it through meditation, if you like, source consciousness or cosmic expansion, in order to hold us in the material realm, has information that comes through the sun, which is then beamed down to us, that keeps us alive, because that cosmic energy, it's too much for us. So it's like, it's kind of alchemized in the sun, and then because I've
Yes.
seen into a sunbeam once during a
Yes.
meditation, and
Yes.
it sends the information through the sunbeams into us, basically, in a proportion that we can handle.
Brilliant. Exactly. Now, look at the universe from a macro standpoint.
Yeah.
Let's say you're looking through a telescope and you see galaxy after galaxy, stars, so many stars, innumerable. That's the key to the universe. It's the light, it's the energy from the stars. Now, if you're God, if you're the supreme being, and you want to broadcast your light, you do it through the stars. You don't have to rely upon satellites or phone towers. No, everything is non physical. So think at this sublime, supreme level. If you were the creator of the universe, you would create stars that would that's the point of origin, that would broadcast the instructions for the universe. That's what we have in scalar energy. This is this miniature star. It carries and embodies the instructions of the universe. Everything begins with energy instructions.
And so the other thing I've seen in meditation is basically that we're intrinsically connected through two strands of light from the sun star, which I call the stellar star, and it goes down right through what you would call in the Eastern tradition our pranic tube, comes out of us and goes all the way down to the core of the earth, which I call the Earth Star. And so basically the pranic tube is, well, this is what I was shown in a meditation. It's basically, it's the quantum core processor of us as fractalized microcosmic aspects of source consciousness.
I agree. You've done
Okay. So basically what you're doing is because the thing is, in a way, we're always receiving scalar technology all of the time, aren't we? Through the sun.
Yes.
Then our desires or our free will are opening them and, if you like, corrupting the original blueprint because it's causing separation from the the magnetism and the electrical aspects of that. So tell me why, if we are intrinsically connected to the sun star, why we would need a machine like yours to realign us when we're already intrinsically connected to that. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
We all are immersed in a sea of scalar energy. It's everywhere. The problem is it's not strong enough. This is a laser-like focus, so to speak. This will pinpoint and enhance the energy. All of us, there's scalar energy in your living room.
But why isn't it strong enough? Tell me that first.
I don't know. That's just the way of the universe. If you want to find really strong scalar energy, go to the center of our star. There's nothing but pure force energy. Now, when that energy leaves the stars, it breaks down.
Okay.
Here's the point. Stars are eternal. Is there anything else that you've seen, whether it's plant life, human life, any biological life that's eternal? No, everything dies. Why? It does not enjoy perpetual light energy. If we had perpetual light energy, people would not die, animals would not die, plants would not die. That's not the case. My point is to enhance life with this perpetual light, with this perfect light.
Okay, great. So you're basically giving more of a focus through your technology into the physical matter-based bodies of humans. You're working with animals as well. Are you working with places?
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else that I've missed out? Huh?
No, that's it. People, animals, plants, and objects.
Okay, so now I know, but can you please tell our audience how you do that through photograph?
Okay. Okay. Now, as an analogy, we're having a conversation. You live in Europe and I live in the United States.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, you're right there in my computer. This is a transatlantic communication. Well, I communicate with people through photographs of people. Now, if we can have a video discussion through our computer, then I can have a discussion with a person through their photograph. I actually place a person's photograph inside the scalar energy instrument. And that's how this works. There are no in-person sessions. Scalar energy can ascertain a signature on everything, including a photograph. When I place my photograph inside that instrument, it's as if I teleport to my instrument. So this is not a biological process. It's an energetic process through a force field. I don't work with people. This is not a chemical process. It's non-physical teleportation. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, because actually, yeah, we're living. So yeah, that's because, and I know my audience know this, but I'm going to reiterate it. We're living in a holographic light universe, basically. Yeah. So there's actually hardly any matter going on anyway. And when we do, you know, a lot of my people do distant healing. And I can heal through a photograph. And in fact, we've done loads of experiments on my channel, you know, putting words on photographs or just sending intention into photographs. And obviously there's distant healing, which I should imagine nearly everyone on my channel has done by now. And so that's exactly the same thing. So you're basically sending your intentionality and which obviously is like a laser of your thoughts and your feelings and light photons, because that's what everything's made of, into something else. So you're not actually putting a physical photograph. You must be using it must be hooked up to a computer of some description.
No, I don't use computers because
don't you?
No hard feelings. Computers are not necessary. The universe is the perfect information system.
So you literally put photographs in the wow, okay.
Why? Because now again, and no hard feelings to anybody if you're a computer engineer, I don't need a computer. The universe is the best computer going. I don't need an infrastructure. The infrastructure is the universe. So I don't need satellites, I don't need cell phone towers, I don't need people to be present. All I need is their photograph to be emailed to me. Everything is energy. We're not working at the brick and mortar state. We're working at the non-physical state of intelligence. All of my work is intelligence. And once people realize that intelligence, things happen instantaneously with intelligence, and you never make a mistake with intelligence, light, divine intelligence, you cannot make a mistake. That's what I like my work. There's no human input. It's all divine intelligence. My process is guaranteed. It is flawless.
And so when somebody sends you a photograph, are you even bothering to print them out and put them in the machine? Because surely the intentionality of sending you the photograph is actually, in terms of the morphogenic fields and quantum entanglement, connecting them and their intentionality directly into the machine without even needing to put the photograph in it.
You know, that's a good point. That's a valid point. But nonetheless, I still print out the photographs. But
okay.
People, by way of their intention, could place their intention inside this instrument. For instance, many times when I pray next to this instrument, I recognize a peculiar outcome, that the healing is accelerated. So my thoughts, my prayers are projected into this scalar vortex. And you're right, it's a carrier wave. It carries information. It can carry intention, prayer, thought, emotion. Very good.
And so just play devil's advocate. Let's say someone wanted to put a photograph of someone that they knew who was sick, who was holding on unconsciously to needing to be sick and a victim and didn't really want to get well. And they gave you, so basically permission wasn't given for them, or they didn't know about it and they were put in the machine. Is there individuated free will going to causally affect the divine, upgrading of their blueprint? Tell me how that works as far as you understand it, because obviously we don't, at some level we don't understand any of this stuff, we're just playing. But yeah,
good point. This is divine will and this is human will, so you can never override divine will. Why? It's primal energy, fundamental energy. You cannot override it. Now you can work against it and you could reject it, but there's nobody that I know who's ever been able to prevent the stars from shining, so to speak. If you reject the starlight, that's up to you, but the stars keep shining.
So is it like our bodies, because I know this is the case, so our bodies are always trying to heal us no matter what, but we override that with our habits and our thoughts and you know, all the trauma,
Yes.
projections and all the rest of it. So no matter how toxic or how much toxicity we put in the bodies, they're always trying to heal. So it's that thing where the divine has made us in that perfection, that double helix perfected aspect. And no matter, even if, so that there can be a kind of friction there, if you like, between individuated will and divine will, but the divine will can't stop trying to heal.
Correct. Exactly. The divine will is always true. It is always perfect. Thank you so much. That's a great analogy.
So the machine is always working. It just might work more slowly, let's say,
Yes.
if somebody was really fixated on trying not to get well.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if they're, and some people hold on to their illness.
Yes.
You know, that's their choosing. But you know, I can't override free will. If that's their free will, then I have to respect it.
Yeah. And obviously some people are learning things from being ill and they need to learn something, and perhaps that's the divine flowing through them in some evolutionary way and lesson. Okay, this is so cool. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was I saw something as well that you were talking about. Across the world, there are a few examples of human bodies, let's say, that were so pure in their consciousness, they were so aligned to scalar energy that they themselves, even as matter-based beings, emanated scalar energy akin to what Christ did. Okay. And so even though they're dead, and they may have been dead for, I don't know how long, hundreds of years, their bodies have not decomposed. And you cite a few examples of this. I've written them down. One is Sir John Vianney. Have I said that right?
Yes. Yeah.
And the other one was the Blessed Imelda Lambertini. Okay, those are two examples. And their bodies don't decompose.
Correct.
So they're made of matter. They've managed to incorporate scalar energy to such an extent that they emanate it. Okay. Now, if one of us does your program, which we'll talk about that in a minute, and you know, you're offering different programs for certain lengths of time that do different things, and we are now beginning to embody in a more purified format that scalar wave technology, and we're healing and everything. Have you noticed or documented or seen or got testimonials from people, because, well, I'll go into that in a minute, but that their family and friends are affected even though the family and friends haven't signed up for the scalar energy? Because I see that in meditation. The more conscious people become, the more their family and friends' consciousness elevates just through their emanation.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Let's say a spouse joins our program. The other is dubious about what we're doing. Eventually, the other spouse that's never joined our program will at least try it, because they see the change, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual change in their spouse, and they want to be part of that. And many times they say, well, whatever you're doing, it's working, Tom, because it changed my spouse, it changed me. So, and I use this as an example because obviously you're living under one roof with your spouse. And that's a great analogy. You bring up the others around you. That's the entire point of my work. I want to see what they call the collective conscious of the world improve. At this stage in my life, I have nothing else to prove. My research works. So what's my final hurdle? I want to help humanity. This is now purely a humanitarian concern on my own.
Well, actually, that's, I think, one of the effects anyway of elevating consciousness, because anyone who works on themselves will eventually reach a point where their overriding objective is to assist the collective. It's just not possible on that kind of evolutionary road to not get to that place. So you've obviously done an immense amount of interior work. Okay, and so and have you, I mean, this is a bit far-fetched, but have you seen anyone actually become what we would call self-actualized, so actually begin to really radiate scalar energy through your technique? And I know you're seeing amazing results, we'll talk about this in a second, from things like all you have from cancer and different autism and different health outcomes. But have you actually seen, starting at the end at the beginning again, because hey, the linear time is irrelevant, have you seen someone become sort of, you know, really self-actualized in a spiritual way through this work?
Yes, many people then start to, with this chakra balancing, many people start to take a greater role in their life in correcting problems, correcting phobias, or taking goals, setting goals for themselves. In other words, they're no we've removed that emotional blockage, and they make progress. And yes, it becomes self-actualizing. That's a good point. That's a valid.
And your chakra balancing,
Yes.
is that within, so you've got one program, which is the one that I've tried myself, and it's I think it's called Scalar Wave Standard program.
Yes.
Is the chakra balancing within that?
Yes, that chakra balancing is included with that. Now, I'm going to once again demonstrate these are the 7 chakras. Okay. And what are they? They're spinning vortices, which is
They're portals.
Yes, they're portals, which is a spinning scalar energy form. And how do we access that? Well, we balanced the 7 chakras through a scalar wave. The scalar energy rotates, and it rotates the chakras. So what are we? We are spinning vortices of scalar energy. And that's not to degrade the human form. This is the highest compliment I could give to people. We are made of this divine light. We have 7 points of light, chakras, that spin with divine intelligence that correct our soul, mind, and body.
Well, there's actually millions of chakras.
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah. But obviously the main chakras are the, if you like, they're the brains or the intelligence that then emanates to the cells and the organs and the glands and systems and everything and tells them how to behave. So when someone's got either an energy center that's out, I actually don't work with the chakra system. I work with a Western tradition. But when those go out, what you'll find is the corresponding organs don't work. So you're working on the energy center level as well as the atomic level.
Exactly, on every level. My work is my work. It's the divine energy, and I'm not trying to be coy or this is not braggadocio. You cannot make a mistake with that scalar form. That's perfect intelligence. Those are perfect instructions. It's flawless.
Okay, so now tell us about tell us about some of your results. Tell us about the thing that happened in India with the people who were living with AIDS, because that's kind of amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We've been working with HIV/AIDS clinic throughout the world. This is a clinic. It's called Om Prakash. These are some of the people at Om Prakash HIV/AIDS clinic, Delhi, India. People would send us their photograph from this HIV clinic. And what we do, we simply match up a photograph of the HIV virus. If I place these 2 photographs inside the instrument simultaneously, the identification of HIV is found in their photograph. It's not chemical, remember. And if I can identify the intelligence of HIV in the quantum field, okay, in this, if you will, this force field, I can eliminate HIV. I can destroy it, negate it. This is what I do through a photograph. Now, how do people feel? Well, we have to rely upon their results. And after working with people in India with their photograph, people tell us they no longer have a viral load for HIV.
And you've done that with quite a lot of people there, haven't you? It was like thousands.
We've worked with 5,000 people at that clinic. And anytime somebody has a follow-up PCR test from the Om Prakash clinic, they have no viral load.
That's just actually miraculous, and I believe in miracles. So that's great. Okay, that's so basically so the scalar wave, because it's perfect intelligence, finds the HIV virus. It makes a match in both, and then because the HIV virus is a corrupted way, electron and magnetic things, they've kind of corrupted. What it does is it heals it, and it simultaneously healing what it's found in both.
Yeah, I believe this is what happens when I introduce a microbe into the instrument will look at its molecular structure and negate it. In theory, I believe the HIV virus falls apart. It shatters, it disassembles. Now, I've never seen that. Well, obviously, with my naked eye, you cannot see that. And I never work with people in person. So whatever happens at a distance, I cannot attribute. I can say that in my laboratory, a photograph of a person will have the character signature of HIV. After I work with that photograph, they no longer have the signature of HIV.
And how long does it take? How long has it been taking on average to heal?
1 minute, one treatment, 1 minute. They're actually in a split second.
And where do you
think at the
think
level of intent?
Yeah, and so that virus on, a particle matter-based level, where is it going to? Is it just dissipating back into the void, the quantum field, to be reformulated in something else? I mean, obviously this is conjecture. What do you think?
Good point. It is conjecture. My conjecture is we break down the HIV virus into proteins. It ceases to exist as a virus to proteins and polysaccharides.
Okay, that's interesting. And then obviously you've been having the same or similar results with cancer as well.
Now, cancer is a new approach. So I can't go out on the limb until I have results. But I've been working with many people with this new enhanced program. And the people that I've worked with thus far say they feel great. Many of them are in remission. There's one woman in particular who was sent to hospice. She was beyond repair, so to speak. She was sent to die. She's living. She's thriving. She's not dying.
That's amazing. Okay, so tell us about some of your programs now. You've obviously got the standard scalar wave one. What are you doing in that? So you're doing various things in different programs.
Yeah. I'll speak about the standard.
Yeah, tell us about the different programs.
We'll keep it simple. So when I start the day, I always start off with a chakra balancing. So for 1 hour, if you can imagine, this instrument is balancing your chakras. Whether it's one person or I might have photographs of thousands of people that day, their chakras are being balanced through the divine energy. Okay, that's 1 hour a day. Then the second hour a day, let's say somebody has viruses or bacteria. It's a pathogenic cleanse. For hour number 2, I take photographs of microbes, photographs of germs, and I download them, if you will, or communicate them with people. So for hour number 2, I look for viruses, bacteria, prions, fungi, and I eliminate them. I eradicate them from the quantum field. Okay? And then the remaining 24 hours, I download nutrients. Scalar energy can be used to take photographs of vitamins. This is vitamin B2. Always with photographs.
Where are you taking that? What is that under a microscope? Like how?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that magnification might be 200-fold under under a microscope. And this is the, if you will, the structure of vitamin B2 riboflavin. If I place that photograph side by side my photograph, I'm receiving the energy of riboflavin, not a chemical. There's no physical matter. So it's the new way of getting nutrients through a photograph energetically. Now, many people have always surmised that whether it's transmutation or it's another biological process, you don't need to eat food or take a supplement to get a vitamin or some type of mineral support. That energetically we can receive our nutrients. And that's what I've proven, at least from an energetic standpoint. I don't take multivitamins. I treat myself with scalar energy and I receive the energy of vitamins on a daily basis.
Yeah, okay. In fact, I was hearing something that actually when we eat food, we're actually just feeding the microbiome in the stomach, and then that's giving us energy to live. So we think that we need to have all of the nutrients inside our physical bodies, but actually it's got nothing to do with our physical bodies at all. We just need the energy that's being released from the microbiome that's being fed. So you've just gone one stage further on that one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you've got, so the other thing, another program of yours that I'm quite interested in is because I've been helping people on a spiritual and emotional level, if you like, or it's coming to the remit of my reality. I've got so many questions for you, on addiction. So that's another program that I'm quite interested. How, obviously, there are aspects to addiction that are to do with, amino acids and the way your body kind of deals with sugar, and there are emotional things as well. But how are you working with addiction? Like on what levels? Is it, again, it's coming at the spiritual level as well, the energetic?
Yeah, that's a good point. So, for instance, we have a program called endorphins and neurotransmitters. And once again, energy does all the work. If I place my photograph side by side, this photograph of the endorphin, then I receive the energy of alpha endorphin. Okay. Now, why do I use photographs? There's no human interpretation. And that's the actual energy of alpha endorphin. And if I wanted to receive that, I simply place my photograph side by side and I receive that energy. And in so doing, many people say that this has rewired their brain or their thinking or whatnot, and they're no longer addicted to drugs. That by changing the wiring, so to speak, or by changing the chemical balance in their terms, they no longer have an affinity for drugs, cigarettes, alcohol. You just have to balance all of this out. Scalar energy does that.
Yeah, but obviously there's also the aspect of your free will again. You've got to, like, it's thought, word, and deed, isn't it? And then bringing it all together. Yeah, but you're basically healing, if you like, at the source level, anything that might be negating their conscious progress. So you're kind of healing the unconscious aspects.
Yes. Yes.
But we're not aware of yet, because we're not at the supraconsciousness level of being here.
You're right. Why is it that some people get so easily addicted to something? That there's got to be something more than chemicals to it. Okay, some people can, smoke a little marijuana and they're never hooked on it. Some people smoke marijuana and they're hooked. They want to get stoned frequently. Why does that happen with some people? It has to be some type of a psychic hold or some type of emotional intrigue that you have to break.
Yeah, I mean, in shamanic terms, we would call it soul loss, basically. So they're trying to feed a hole that will never be filled by the addiction, and there's kind of emotional and mental and spiritual work that needs to be done. Have you got, so, I mean, something that's coming up a lot in reality at the moment, or in our world, is healing trauma. And do you find that your programs are kind of naturally balancing those type of things, or have you got specific programs around that?
Can you repeat that? What type of
trauma? Like emotional trauma, yeah. Because I haven't seen anything. Maybe working on something, or yeah.
Per se, no. Why? I can't define trauma. In order to solve a problem, you have to define it. I'll let the divine energy define trauma. And sometimes it does help by way of the chakra balancing, the trauma. So what am I getting at? Some people have come to us with PTSD or depression, or they just been miserable because of life circumstances. Eventually, this energy seems to help them. Eventually, this energy is so strong it can illuminate a light bulb in my hand. I want to show the audience this.
Please do.
And if it can illuminate a light bulb, it can illuminate the mind. Okay? Now, imagine that type of energy going into a person's chakra on a daily basis. Well, that's the type of energy that I think will help with trauma. Again, is there something I can predict? No. Is there a definite cause and effect relationship? I believe there is. Can I guarantee that somebody will be well within a month or two? No. But many people have told us that this has helped them with depression, anxiety, even with autism over a period of time. This does help some children with autism.
Well, it would make sense, because matter is obviously condensed, very dense light, actually. And if you illuminate it more and more, it's going to align to its higher nature anyway, even if it's matter or the mind or the emotions. The more light you can throw at something, the more illumination you throw at something, the more you're expanding the consciousness of that thing. So that makes sense. Tell me about the machine behind you. So how long did it take you to make that machine?
This is
Is it
thank you.
hard to build a treasure machine?
This is so difficult. This is the stumbling block. This is the bottleneck in all of my work. Engineering, instrumentation, and then experimentation. It's so difficult. I'm going to show the audience. This is the scalar energy instrument. Now, notably, there's no moving parts. You see this vacuum tube. That vacuum tube, if you will, creates or at least accommodates the formation of the double helix.
So it's like the vacuum of space.
Yes, this is not, thank you.
In microcosmic form. I love it. Okay.
Yes, that's my miniature universe. This is my miniature star. Yes, thank you. Now, what's the point? Well, when we're working with this, it's not solid state circuitry necessarily. Why? We're trying to recreate the universe. That's a miniature universe. That's a miniature star. Now, to go back to your question, the original inventor of this instrument is a man by the name of Galen Hieronymus. I continue on with his work. I'm one of the few people in the world, I think, who are continuing on with his work. And what a shame. So in theory, I studied Tesla. In practice, I studied Galen Hieronymus.
And how long did it take you to make? I mean, I imagine you're always looking at how long did it take you to make that machine?
Yeah, I'm not the only engineer here. I'm working with another brilliant engineer and other brilliant manufacturers. To answer your question, this has been 25 years in the making now. This is the most advanced model, and we're not finished yet.
So you're always doing upgrades and trying to make the models better.
Exactly.
I had another question for you. So if you're bit by bit, using your programs to eliminate pathogens and viruses and all of those kind of things, as you're eliminating them bit by bit out of different humans, you must be, because of quantum entanglement, and we're a collective species, eliminating them bit by bit from our reality. So in other words, the entire reality is being eliminated of, well, I'll just call them pathogens for a better word, or kind of this disease. Is that, do you think that is what's happening?
Yes, indeed. That's exactly what's happening. We're able not only to remove this, I believe, in a psychic sense and probably in a physical sense, and if you will, at a fundamental level, removing the memory. And that's so important. So when I work with people, they tell me not only do they feel better, but there's no Herxheimer reaction. There's no chemical die-off. Okay, there's no chemical memory. Why? We remove that completely. This is consummate healing. It has to be. This is why I never have an allergic reaction. It's not a chemical reaction. We're at a higher level where we remove the intelligence. If you can negate the intelligence of a disease, that's it. The disease ceases to exist.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And it also shows how, you can have a chronic condition, let's say, I don't know, like a pain in your neck, for example, and you can have it for 20 years. And then if it completely leaves you, it's almost like you can't remember it ever being there, even though it destroyed your life for 20 years. It's funny how that works. And it's almost like the memory, which I believe comes down through the cellular and ancestral lines as well, can be completely eradicated, because it's like it's not there in the electromagnetic field anymore. You're eliminating it from that.
Yeah. I've had people tell me this new enhanced program, it's helped them with rheumatoid arthritis. They no longer have the pain of rheumatoid arthritis. And I ask them, what's it like? And they say, well, it's great getting up in the morning and you don't have pain. Now, some of these people had difficulty sleeping because they were in pain. And I ask them, do you remember what it was like? They say, yeah, I can vaguely remember the pain, but now that I no longer have it, it's like it's out of their mind. How does that happen? By, in consummate fashion, addressing the intelligence of rheumatoid arthritis. That's how.
And do you think that there's a certain amount of people that you could, like the 100th monkey syndrome, that you could beam this at before, let's say, HIV completely didn't even exist here?
Yeah, I would hope so, but you still need a photograph of people to identify the HIV virus in the person and then eradicate it. I would hope that people would follow my work and eventually start sending me tens of millions of photographs so that we can eradicate diseases such as HIV.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Um, wow, it's kind of mind-blowing everything you're doing. So you offer a 15-day free trial, and I have to tell you what happened to me during the 15-day free trial.
Okay.
My husband and I signed up for this trial, and basically in that 15 days, we both experienced some uncanny good luck, let's say. So it was like a lot of things that we were desiring or manifesting suddenly came into being or into fruition all at once. So it was almost like we were divinely aligned to some of our heart's desires within that 15-day period. And that was the thing that I most strongly noticed when I signed up for that. I don't have chronic illness and things like that. So I wasn't going to notice anything like that. But that's the thing that I noticed. I felt very joyful, and suddenly everything went right. Not that it goes, I mean, I'm always in a state of gratitude, actually. Not that anything was particularly going wrong, but things went more right than usual, let's say, in a 15-day window. So that's what happened to me, actually. So yeah, I don't know. Go and try it if this interests you, because I think it's well worth the try. And the 15-day free trial, you're signing them up to the standard Scalar, aren't you? Which is the energy centers and
Yes.
what is it? It's a pathogen
Uh,
cleanse or a nutrient enhancement?
the three, the energy cleanse, okay, the chakra, the microbe cleanse, and then the nutrients. We practice those three in a day on a daily basis. For 15 days, you're going to receive those. After 15 days, you're going to feel different. Most people say they feel better, significantly better.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, I think what you're doing is amazing. And, I've been hearing whispers of scalar energy in the last 5 years in different corners of the world. And now, yeah, it's wonderful to hear that you're actually doing something of value for humanity and really making a go of it and offering it out to the world. So I know we're running out of time. So is there anything that you'd like to share with my audience before we kind of finish up?
The application of scalar energy, scalar technology is mind boggling. This technology will change the world. This technology is going to advance the human race. So join us, people. Be a part of this movement.
Yeah, I believe it could well change the human race. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to start meditating more with scalar wave technology. I think I was the first person on YouTube to do a 0 point manifesting meditation technique, and now loads of people are doing them. So actually it's getting out there into the field. So amazing. Thank you so much. Perhaps we can talk more about the energetics of the universe one day.
Please, why not? Let's visit this maybe next year.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. And if anybody wants to reach out and see what Tom's doing, I will put his website and all of his details in the description box below this video. So thank you very much for listening, everyone. And thank you so much for your time today, Tom.
Thank you.